Hi, my name is Drumsy, and I am a VRchat reporter, and I make comedy videos on VRchat. I've been doing it for 7 years, and I am excited to share my story. Thank you for inviting me.
Welcome to What's Our Status, the show where we explore the creativity, chaos, and connection that make VRChat unforgettable. Today we're featuring Drumsy, VRChat's self-proclaimed news anchor and comedic mastermind. Known for his hilarious documentary-style videos, Drumsy takes viewers on wild adventures through VRChat, uncovering bizarre stories, unforgettable characters, and absurd moments. Whether delivering hard-hitting news or orchestrating chaotic social experiments, his content is a perfect blend of satire, storytelling, and VR madness. Drumsy, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Wow, what an introduction.
To kick things off, let's go back to where it all started. I love to hear about your early experiences with VRChat and how it became such an important part of your journey. What are your first experience with VRChat like, and what drew you to the platform?
So, I think I always made comedy-based videos. I grew up being a class clown, so I was always looking for funny things to do. I think the thing that brought me in was probably I think that the Knuckles meme was kind of a big thing when I first saw VRChat, and when I hopped in to just attempt to record a video and see what it was all about. I was already a fan of VR. I had the VR headset. I would use it for little hobby VR experiences, but it wasn't super fleshed out yet as a platform. And when I got into VRChat to record a video, I immediately got a bunch of funny content, but I was blown away by the social connection aspect of it. I was not expecting that. I was just going in for the comedy. Once I saw that and I started making actual friends and connections in game, I was a daily user.
What or who inspired you to start creating content in VRChat?
Is it something you don't want to talk about? If there's something...
No, I don't think I have an answer. I don't think I have a good answer for that, because I wasn't watching another creator that inspired me to make VRChat content. I think I was just I was already making YouTube videos, and I just saw the game, and I was that would make good content. But I don't think I have a good answer. I'll put my thoughts together before I start speaking on the next one.
At the time you started, what made VRChat stand out compared to other platforms?
So when you play other social games, think of Second Life or Club Penguin. I don't know. You're typing or talking, and you're kind of looking at this top-down view of a game. That's how most social games have been. In VRChat, there's this element of being in the VR headset. You can't easily just take it off and get distracted. You're there, you're present, talking to somebody. If you're an awkward person in real life and don't like making eye contact, that transfers into the game. So it's a much more real experience. I think that's the best part about the game socially.
Now that we've talked about your beginnings, let's explore what made you fall in love with VRChat. What were the things you absolutely loved about VRChat when you began?
Okay. This is so easy, actually. Such an easy question. I am a huge fan of animation. I watched so much Avatar: The Last Airbender growing up. I got really into anime. Hopping into this game, I think especially in the early days, it wasn't now it's a lot more anime, but early on it was so many IPs. Every cartoon, animated program that you can think of, those avatars were the main things in game, along with people's homemade creations. So it was really a place for people to express their love of animation, and it's only grown. It's gotten actually pretty wild what people can make in this game.
Are those things still present today? Or have they evolved over time?
They've changed. They've definitely changed. I think there are two kind of branches. There's the kind of, I don't want to say kids branch, but people that are more into the Five Nights at Freddy's animated programs, which sometimes tends to be more kids. There's been that kind of group. And then there's the other group, which are more adult in nature, which is not just the anime and super expressive art, but also that 18 plus element. People love that's VTubers have kind of made that a big thing. So there's kind of been branches that have grown.
VRChat is such a creative and unpredictable space. Let's dive into what makes it so unique and some of the moments that keep it exciting. How would you describe the uniqueness of VRChat content?
I think what makes content in VRChat so unique is that it's just a sandbox. I always struggle when people ask what kind of videos I make when I'm getting a haircut and my stylist is like, what do you do? I have no idea how to explain it to them, because saying I'm a gaming YouTuber doesn't encompass the type of content that exists in VRChat. It's basically just real life, but in a 3D space. Like, you can shoot a reality show, you could just do a podcast, you could do social interactions, you could make a prank show, you could shoot a movie. There are so many things people have done in this game and so many things that still haven't been done, but you could do easily, that I think that's the unique part. With other games, other experiences in VR even, they're limited. I think VRChat is made as a sandbox, and it's pretty much the best of its kind in VR, I think. So,
what is one of the most memorable, chaotic moments from your content that still sticks with you?
I think the most chaotic, memorable experience I can think of from my own content, I had an entire video planned around just going to Disneyland in VRChat. There's a whole map where it's just a recreation of Disneyland. And I planned an entire video with me and my friends going to it. The thing is, whenever I'm recording videos, even with my friends, I leave the world set on public, because there's always just the slight chance somebody joins the world that's just a complete stranger and like changes the landscape of the video. And during this Disneyland video, the first 30 seconds of the video, a like toddler shows up. Like literal like 4-year-old, sounds like a baby, sounds like he's still wearing diapers, should not, absolutely under no circumstances be in VR. And this kid says hi to us and starts just busting out the most out-of-pocket shit you can think of. And immediately I was like, well, we're not making a video about Disneyland anymore. It has to be about what the hell is happening right now. So we just centered the entire video around this kid, who then, after the video, I talked to his parents and they were like, yeah, it's okay if he comes into some videos. So we made like a little series with him, and it was, I think one of the most popular moments on the channel, and also one of the most genuine. You could just tell that it was like genuine chaos for us when it was happening.
What about VRChat's unpredictability do you think appeals most to your audience?
If I had to guess, I think that like the friendships that I've cultivated that always appears in videos kind of gives maybe off the same energy as when you watch a sitcom. You have that same group of friends and just different sets of them, different interactions in different situations. And there's just kind of like in VRChat, this genuineness to it that you can't avoid even when you know you're recording a video for content. There will always be real moments that slip through. And I think that's what makes the content special. I don't have a big ego about my content. I'm like, every time I watch my videos, I'm like, God, this is awful. But I can only guess why people watch it.
Some of you might be wondering, what are these two trying to get out of making this video? Back in 2017 and 2018, I stumbled across some creators on Twitch who completely changed how I looked at VRChat. It wasn't just the hilarious moments. It was the friendships, the shared memories, the realness of it all that made me want to be part of that world. I wanted to meet new people, create content that made others smile, and share something positive that could inspire. Fast forward to today, and I still can't believe I got to interview Nuts and Khan. Khan's interview is coming up in a future video, by the way. I was shaking, seriously. I used to watch their content during lunch breaks at my old soul-crushing job at a Japanese black company. Their videos got me through some of the roughest times, and I refuse to let creators like them and the moments they help shape fade into obscurity. This project is about honoring that spark. So, as you watch, I hope a part of you understands why this series had to happen, and why we poured everything into making it real.
It's incredible how VRChat continues to grow and evolve. Let's talk about how the platform has changed and how it's shaped your creative journey. How has VRChat changed since you first joined?
I think the major thing that has changed that's affected my content personally is the public instances. I think as time went on and more creators made content in VRChat, it has attracted an audience. You would both understand when I say the Christmas swarm. Every Christmas, a bunch of people get their first VR headset as a gift, and we are invaded by new users, many of them kids that were just watching YouTube content. Over time, that has changed the landscape from people that were just hanging out for those social experiences. And now there's just a lot more people, just by nature of how things have turned out, there's a lot more people that I've got on that are kind of like, I want to find some content to make, or I want to find people making content and I want to be in it. So everyone's trying to do a bit, everyone's trying to like get in front of the camera or record their own content. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it really changes how public worlds are.
Have you noticed an influx of VRChat content creators recently?
No. I think over time, VRChat has had its kind of peaks and dips, and I think right now we're just kind of like in a nice stable land where the only people making content on VRChat now are people that actually care about the game. There aren't just people hopping on the game just because it's a popular thing right now. So I really like where we're at.
Do you feel like your work has influenced newer creators or trends? If so, how?
Ooh, I've definitely seen some creators that make content that is similar to mine. I hope they were inspired by me. I don't know if I was their direct inspiration for having similar content. It might just have naturally popped up. I'm kind of a unique butterfly. I haven't seen too many people make content exactly like mine, so I don't know.
What do you think about the new styles of VRChat content emerging now?
I think a lot of the current creators that have been popping up have been VTubers, and yeah, I'm all for it. VTubers bring so much art and community with them that like I could never complain when VTubers come into this game.
Your avatar and persona are such a vital part of your presence in VRChat. Let's explore how you crafted this virtual identity. How did you approach designing your VRChat avatar and crafting your online persona?
So, at the beginning, I wanted to be a little reporter in VR, and that was just so that I could kind of explore and make content about whatever I found. But over time, as I made friends, and it naturally evolved into kind of a friend group. And then over time, I was just like, cool, I don't have to be the spotlight anymore of these videos. I've naturally like made friends with people who are funnier, more talented than me. So I just shine the spotlight on them. And my avatar is just a guy wearing a white shirt tucked into his pants. I try not to be flashy about it. I try not to have anything crazy going on because it's really about the friend group and the interactions and the community. That sounds so cheesy, but it's true.
Do you feel your avatar reflects your real personality? Or is it more of a character you created?
I think my avatar represents the character that I want to play, but that inevitably I will never be able to play. I try to make it a reporter who is on a mission to find out the truths about life. I put on glasses in this avatar to kind of look more well thought out, like a little bit of a nerd. In real life, I don't wear glasses. I'm an ADHD riddled dude who cannot pay attention to shit. So no, I don't think the avatar represents me very well, but it represents what I strive for. Put the stars behind me.
How do avatars and virtual personas impact storytelling and interactions in VR chats?
For me, for my videos, which are aimed to be comedy kind of based, avatars that are not very expressive are super funny. One of the most popular avatars that have been in my videos is this Dora the Explorer avatar that has zero movement in the face. It is just blank, deathless stare. And then on the other end, for other people's content, there are so many talented model creators that have made these super expressive models. VRChat tech has evolved where there's face tracking now. So that kind of content where it's more about the personality and maybe a VTuber sitting in front of their stream for 4 hours, you need that kind of expression for the storytelling, for the connection. But I think that's what's important for them.
It's inspiring to see how VRChat content has left a mark on gaming and streaming culture. Let's discuss your perspective on this broader impact. In what ways do you think VRChat content has impacted the broader gaming or streaming culture?
Ooh. So I think I would like make a case for people like Iron Mouse. I know Iron Mouse has hopped in the game. I don't think she's like a necessarily like an avid VR chat user, but there are so many people like her that would not have the opportunity to make content in the same way if they didn't have a game like VR chat. And I think VR chat is just one of the sources that has let people with disabilities, people who don't want to show their face, have an avenue to really express themselves. So I think it's really shaped content for people like that. At the same time, I think VR chat has got a really bad stigma also attached to it. We cannot avoid this. We cannot just not talk about it. There's also a lot of people that come into this game and just exploit the ability to just talk to a bunch of people at once. There's people that kind of are out here harassing, and we know it, we've seen it, and so we can't ignore that. That has happened, and that is a thing that exists.
How has the rise of VR gaming changed your perspective on gaming or social interaction in general?
If not for VR chat, I think, me personally, and a lot of people that use this game, their ability to interact with people socially would have plummeted over COVID times. In that 3-year span where everyone was just indoors for most of the time, I think everybody's social abilities and social skills would have absolutely nosedived if not for this game. But because of VR chat, I feel like I didn't even skip a beat. I got back out into the world after the pandemic was kind of calming down, and I was like, it's like VR chat, but in real life.
What role do you see VR chat playing in the future of entertainment and connection?
I think a game like VR chat is maybe primed to be like one day, if VR headsets ever become so mainstream like a cell phone or a computer, I think games like VR chat would be like the new spot to meet up with all your friends, you know? Like if they make virtual malls where you can meet up with your friends and go walk around and you have your own body scanned into VR and you jack into your brain in the morning and you're like, let's go dive into the virtual world. I'm gonna get on VR chat, plug into your spine, and then you go to the mall with your friends and then you have your body uploaded. You can see some clothes, like, I wanna know how that looks on me. Click, and then you can see it on you, and you order it, and then it ships via Amazon drone straight to your house. This is the future.
There's something electric about stepping into a public world, not knowing who you'll meet, where the night will take you, or what memories you'll make. That's the heartbeat of VR chat, and while things may have shifted over the years, that magic is still there, waiting. Maybe it starts with you. Maybe you and a couple of friends open a public instance just for the fun of it. Maybe someone unexpected joins, and it clicks. Just how connections begin, not with plans, but with presence. So welcome the good ones. Stay curious. Hold your space when things get chaotic, but don't be afraid to lean in a little. Ask questions. Toss out an improv prompt. You might be surprised by who rises to the moment. Truth is, the ones trying the hardest to derail things, they're usually the ones taking it way too seriously. This isn't a competition. It's a sandbox. There's no right way to play. We make our own fun here. VR chat has always been about exploration, play, and shared creativity. It's not about going viral. It's about laughing with someone you just met, goofing off in a weird avatar, or building something wild just because you can. And every time we show up, we have the power to bring a little more of that spirit back. So maybe this video will remind you of what VR chat can still be. A place to laugh, a place to explore, a place where sometimes strangers become memories.
As someone with so much experience in VR chat, I'm sure you thought about how the platform could improve. Let's talk about that. If you could suggest one thing for VR chat to improve or add, what would it be and why?
If there is one thing VR chat could improve, it's their marketing to the masses. I think VR chat, still to this day, even with all of the advances it's had in-game, every time I'm like, hey, did you know you could try VR chat in desktop mode to one of my friends? Like, what? I thought I needed a VR headset. I just think most people don't know about VR chat other than it is a VR game. So yeah, if anything could be improved, it could be getting the word out. I just don't think people know about this game. I think mobile is enough, but I just don't think people know that it's a thing.
Is there something you feel the platform or community is missing right now?
I think this game has lost that element of like walking around and meeting new friends. It still exists, but it's a lot harder to find, especially when like the most avid users are in a private world most of the time. Like, how am I walking around the public worlds ever going to meet those people and befriend them and come to their drinking nights on Fridays? Something that promotes that kind of activity again, how it used to be in the olden days. Sound like an old man right now, but back in the day, if we can bring that back, that'd be so special.
Let's take a moment to reflect on your incredible journey and the impact you've had in the VRChat world. Reflecting on your time as a creator, what do you think your greatest contribution to VRChat has been?
Stop. I don't think I've contributed much, believe it or not. I think the most that you could say I've contributed is maybe getting people aware of the social interactions and like the genuine friendships you can make in VRChat, because I have some of those elements like sprinkled around my videos. So maybe I've brought people into this game. I've also probably brought a lot of children and a lot of people coming in to harass people. So, I don't know if I've done a net positive or a net negative for this game, but I will say I've changed it, probably somehow. I don't think I necessarily ever made videos with the intention of like promoting the game in the most healthy way. I think I was just trying to make good content for my audience. And so the consequences of that are whatever happened.
How do you hope your content will be remembered within the VRChat community and beyond?
Stop! I hope I'll just be remembered as a silly guy trying to have fun with his friends. That's all I could ever hope for. I hope I made people feel something. I only got into making content because I would watch a show like Avatar and I would cry my eyes out at the ending and be like, I can't believe it's over, but I'm happy that it happened. I want to make other people feel that too.
What would you love to see more of in the VRChat content space moving forward?
I would like to see more like cinematic things made in VRChat. I think there have been a couple like production studios that have formed in VRChat that have made like actual movies. Heck, I think there was like an HBO documentary that got made. More of that, please. We have all the tools. Again, there's like 7 cameras that you guys have set up right now. I feel like people need to utilize that more. Obviously, it's a chore. It's a bigger task than just, me getting on and strapping on my headset and telling 3 friends to get on and goofing off. But we're primed and ready. Like, all the tech is there.
If you could relive or revisit any moment from your VRChat journey, what would it be?
I hate to be that guy. I hate to be nostalgic like this, but if I could go back to never putting a VR headset on and then getting to put it on for the first time again, every single time I would like boot up a new app or try a new game, it was like the most magical thing in the world. And I feel like I haven't gotten a dopamine rush like that since then. And I miss it.
And finally, let's wrap up by focusing on advice and recommendations for those who are just starting out or looking for inspiration. What advice would you give to new creators entering VRChat today?
I think VRChat content can get easily chaotic and crazy and hard to follow. I think that's the biggest pitfall I see when people are making just like that genuine kind of social content, is that there's just too much going on. I think it's really important to just focus on like a single story and really locking in on it. When I used to meet somebody really cool in VRChat, I would always invite them to a separate world and take it away, because otherwise there's like 17 people talking in a circle around you and it's really hard to follow what's happening.
Are there any channels, creators, or communities you'd recommend, and why?
I'll shout out a longtime friend. Lolathon is somebody who makes really cool avatars in VRChat. If you're into the type of stuff that I've been talking about for my own content, which is just like genuine good vibes and fun and chaos, that's Lolathon, and he also gets to blend in like 3D modeling and art with it. I wish I also knew this question. I wish I studied for this question, because you guys did tell me this was going to be asked and I didn't study. I'm also going to go after this and study and find somebody that is like a new and upcoming channel, and I'm going to put them right here. Support them.
All right, well, Drumsy, thank you so much for making time to be part of this project. Your insights and creativity add tremendous value, and it's been a privilege to hear your perspective. Keep creating and sharing your amazing content. It's clear the community benefits from everything you contribute.
Thank you for the invite. You guys obviously care about everything you do, and I'm very happy when I saw your message to me.
Drumsy has a way of making VRChat feel like an unpredictable documentary. Part satire, part investigative reporting, part absolute madness.
Right. He doesn't just cover VRChat. He exposes it, celebrates it, and sometimes makes it question his own sanity. And somehow, he makes all of that look effortless.
If you know a creator whose story deserves spotlight,
We love to hear about them. We should invite
we should. Yeah, we totally should.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we're
Finally.
not doing that.